I used to work down at City Hall. When they started switching and talking about it at City Hall, we couldn't talk about it outside the building. You know, if they found out that you talked about it outside the building, you were subject to getting fired.
Very bad decisions came along from the Department of Environmental Quality to allow the city to not institute corrosion controls.
Who would ever have suspected that the state would go from a treated water supply to an untreated one and then not treat it?
Nobody ever came to me with a jug of this dirty water or these bottles of dirty water. It wasn't until it really blew up in September, just like everybody else, that I became aware.
We were all getting rashes before the water looked bad. But once the water started coming through the tap in January consistently brown, it got to the point with my son's skin where he was breaking out severely.
Everybody had their own individual experiences. Ours was rashes and hair loss, and we couldn't figure out why.
We were concerned, but we didn't find out anything until February 26th, literally a few weeks ago.
This one's definitely yellow, and you can see floaties. This was our tub water. Cole came out running and screaming, "Mom, the water's yellow, the water's yellow." I'm like, "Ooh, what color's the water today?" This is safe, by the way, but that's what they told us, it's safe.
I have 5 grandkids that attend Freeman Elementary School. The state DEQ come in and did a test and said that the only thing wrong in that school is the water fountains. All 5 of my grandkids that go to that school have tested positive for lead.
Long after Flint no longer has a water crisis, it is going to have a lead crisis. Lead is a neurotoxin that impacts the cognitive and behavioral development of children across their lifespan.
Some people in my class that they asked my gym teacher to go get a drink from the water fountain, they just go drink out of the water fountain.
What do the teachers say when that happens?
They really don't care.
We still deal with the water issues. All my kids, when they bathe in it, they get rashes that are horrible. Our babies are getting sick for what? We don't know.
When I have 4-year-olds asking me if they're going to die because they're poisoned, I have twins. One's 56 pounds, one's 35. He hasn't grown in a year. He's still having issues with the anemia. And them realizing at 5 years old why there's a difference between them. Yes, it keeps me up at night. Yes, it makes me emotional. These are my kids. These are everybody's kids.
It's also known to cause spinal defects, which can cause neurological damage of all kinds. So for my specialist, they're really looking into the spine of the baby. I have one picture of my baby where I can see part of the face, and I've got 300 pictures of the spine.
My daughter is 13. She has a disability by nature, but because she's been poisoned, it made it worse.
Lead is not a 9-to-5 job. It is not something you sleep on. When you know the potential consequences of lead, when you know its life course damning potential, you need to know what's going on.
They've been telling people, if you're over the age of 6, you're fine. I'm 37. You want to see my meds? Yeah, no, my liver is failing. Also, the seizures are fun. They're just great, you know, to watch the panic on my husband's face when I can't stop and he doesn't know what's going to happen to me.
I went to get tested. Came back positive. Oh, well, we're going to take your information down. The health department's going to get with you. The health department never called me back.
The worst part is that the full effects of lead poisoning aren't seen for up to 5 years, so I'm waiting to see it happen to my kids.
We take care of extended family like immediate family. Family is family. When their house is tested off the charts, they came to our home. And it just happens to be that they all have many children. You know, I happen to have one and one on the way, but when you kind of put us all together, there's over 20 of us that come here on a regular basis. Our house is testing at over 1,600 for lead. The landlord, when he found out that there had been a post on Leanne Walters' Facebook about what our lead numbers were, it was our first time of making it public knowledge. The next day he showed up to get the keys to the house. We willingly gave him the keys, and he immediately boarded up the house and told us that the house was being sold. We couldn't go back in for our possessions, and we couldn't go back in to finish the water testing. I had to have my daughter climb in and break in just to get water samples.
It just makes me sick. The whole situation makes me sick. We're not going back in for property, we're just going back in for water. Because at this point, I mean, they've already poisoned 2 generations of our family. What more can they take from us? You think some furniture matters? You know, the photographs that we got in there, you think that matters? It just hurts. So, you coming out? Okay. Be careful. Mike, I love you, but don't draft the water, okay? That's all the evidence we got. Just get on a jug.
It has already seen animals living in it. It's already seen people breaking into it. Honestly, if we could get the water in the 2 homes to where we feel it's safe, you know, tested for everything, you know, 5-10 years from now, we would take care of this home. I would have family in here. My brother-in-law, sister-in-law would be living here. If they don't, we're gonna abandon it, and it's gonna look like every other house in Flint. The truth is our home is a decent home, but this is what you see when you come to Flint.
Howdy, Yellow. Good evening. I'm Michael. I'm with a little group called Crossing Water. You heard of them? Yeah. We're not a band, but we look like one. Crossing Water has been technically in existence for a couple of years. See, it was really not anything at all related to Flint. But then Flint broke out, and we went from sitting on the couch in disbelief to, next thing you know, we're all in, up to our eyes. When we identify a household that needs services, we get a call back to our operations center, and within an hour, we send a team to that door. We give them water. We go into houses to make sure the filter's installed properly, that the family understands what the filters do and how to operate it properly. We see that some folks giving them water just isn't enough. A single mother, for example, with 3 kids, she's homebound. Imagine if you know, you work in your job every day, you've got 3 kids, all of a sudden you're thrust into this unbelievable disaster where you can't use the water. Imagine you don't have a car. So now you have to take water from the fire station or whatever these water distribution centers are, and you're carrying water to your home every day with kids in tow, a book bag or groceries. It's just not going to happen. So you don't have nearly enough water that you need, and you're in dire circumstances.
There's no winning in this situation because sometimes it's convenient in a spot for you, but then you have older people that can't get out and get it. So, you know, what are they supposed to do?
Because people in Flint have to use bottled water every single day, and I think they don't like it.
Oh, it's ridiculous. I mean, we have to use it to brush our teeth, wash our faces, otherwise my oldest will break out and scar.
This is a water room. Every house in Flint has a water room. That's normal. Don't you know that's normal? I mean, you can't shower in it, so you might as well bathe in a bottle, right? Or if you have an elderly grandmother to take care of, I mean, I'm sure it's really easy to bathe her with a bottled water, right?
I have to use bottled water to cook, to wash our vegetables, to rinse our meats. It takes 14 bottles of water to make a pot of jambalaya and steamed asparagus.
When they first started giving out the water, you would only get a case of water per family.
It's terrible. You know, some families just might use 1 case, but we got family and children, so we use like 2 and 3, 4 cases a day of waters.
And whatever resources we can't deliver, we see to it that other agencies get involved and step in.
Community foundations are the place where we put long-term resources to impact problems that are going to be with us over the long haul. We had a couple of leaders come together and they established our Flint Child Health and Development Fund. It's become known as the Flint Kids Fund. Nearly $2 million has been contributed from all 50 states in the United States. We've gotten donations from countries like Afghanistan, Australia, Belgium, France. But what is also wonderful is to see the kind of help that Flint residents are giving each other.
I'm happy to be able to go deliver water and, you know, go canvass and go find people who need the help.
What's the plan, driving this over
I had no volunteers today. I'm like, oh God, please. And so my husband's like, just forget it. You know, for $50 we'll run a U-Haul and get the water out of here.
My name is Charlotte Lancaster McCann, and I am the founder of Building Strong Women, and we are a nonprofit organization that take care of homeless women that are in need for placement that don't have nowhere to stay.
Thank you. Back in the car. Yeah, we gotta take that down. Charlotte.
Yes, ma'am.
We also raised money too.
Oh, thank
There's
you.
over $300 some odd dollars there. So, oh, no problem.
We hear people often say, did you check on Marjorie down the street? Because I don't know if she's got water. Her husband died last year and she's alone.
What's that?
That Ventured Yard?
Across the street?
Yeah, they need water.
This is affecting everybody. And so it's good to see everybody come together regardless of what their race or religion is to help each other out.
We're getting the semblance that people really, in the midst of the worst days of their lives, they're worried about their neighbors.
Okay, can we grab a couple of the cases then?
You sure can.
Okay, because we have no more.
Okay.
Those are Flint people helping Flint people. And Flint people are tough. We are strong. We are resilient.
Okay, guys, we have a rally that's getting ready to start. Right after this, we need each and every one of you to come to stand together in solidarity. We need to have power in numbers. And we need to have each and every one of you guys stand up for the city of Flint, the state of Michigan, for your children, for our lives. Come on, guys, we can do this. It's just a little bit of sacrifice. That's all we have to do. A little bit of sacrifice. We got to get this done. Whole city! 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 Shut it down! Shut it down!
Because economically, they didn't think the citizens would put up a fight or be able to put up a fight. We might be ghetto and we might be poor, but we're really loud when we stand together.
I always wanted to get married, receive a kiss from someone who would shift solar systems just to stimulate my smile. My name is Harvey. I am an aspiring actress, full-time activist, and overall melanin goddess. For the many ways he will say, I love you. Poets from Flint, we agree on a lot of stuff. Number one, violence is messed up. Number two, this water stuff is messed up. Flint was known for a lot of other stuff before the water crisis. You know about the school system, you know about GM, growing up with that, you know about crime rates and all that stuff. Like that has always surrounded you, and this is another thing surrounding you.
I've only lived in 2 cities for a long time in my life. One is Flint, one's Midland, Michigan. Midland, Michigan is predominantly white. Midland, Michigan has a high economic status.
If this would have happened in a predominantly white area, that it would have been fixed on the spot.
I guarantee you they would have ripped up that whole city in 30 days. 45 minutes south in Flint, they don't care.
Okay, what I haven't heard at all tonight, at all, is any discussion about emergency management and how this is targeted predominantly black communities. You talk about you got some policies, I haven't heard one peep about resisting the absolute subversion of democracy in black communities like Detroit, Benton Harbor, and Flint, and this poisoning is about emergency management, and you haven't said a thing about it.
Let me answer your question, okay? We appreciate what you're saying, and we agree with you. You know what? Give me a minute, okay? So we are in the poorest, most underserved communities in Flint right now, where no one. Everyone's angry about this. It's hard to find the right target. It's a target that keeps moving. You know, there's plenty of anger to go around, and actually, I don't begrudge anyone their anger. But for me, there'll be plenty of time for that later in my life. If I took a minute to get engaged in politics, that's a minute I take away from these children, these families, and I'm just not willing to engage in it that way. It's unreal. I cry every day over this, and I can't stop crying anymore.